Hey guys, welcome in and thanks for joining us for episode 5 of Whiskey Flix. Today my brothers and I will be discussing Back to the Future while drinking some Woodford Reserve. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Cheers.
I wish I could do that at work. I wish someone would start talking to me. I'd just be like, "Nice to see you," and just go walk away. We don't have to do this. We don't need to have this conversation. How was your weekend? Good. Mine was fine. Nice to see you. And now, Mike, you said in your intro, it's a short novel by
Yeah,
Stephen
not
King.
too long.
So how many pages are we talking?
We're talking, so I guess I was misleading when I said I read it. It was an audiobook. But what I mean to say is,
I love that you just didn't make up a number. You could have said anything.
I would have believed it. Yeah, I would have never questioned it. I would be like, oh, all right. Guys getting processed at CVS.
What's the turnaround time on this? A week? That's not going to work.
It was half his vacation at Disney World, half following a dangerous assassin around the world.
drinks in hand. Taylor, I'm going to throw it over to you to start off the Woodford review.
So, Woodford Reserve, for me, right off the bat, is a good bourbon. I'm not overly excited this week. Last week, I couldn't wait to talk about Noble Oak, Double Oak. I was pumped right out of the gate. I knew I loved it. This bourbon is, like I said, it's good. It's good. It's got nice spicy notes to it, nice cocoa, cinnamon sort of notes to it. Overall, though, for me, it's for what we've done, it's a little middle of the road at this point. But Woodford Reserve, name brand, kind of synonymous with Kentucky bourbon whiskey. It's good. I like it. Am I going to continue to drink it straight after this? Probably not. No. Whiskey sours, whiskey and Coke, for sure. But that's where I'm at with it. I don't know where you guys stand with it, but it was all right for me.
PJ, what do you got, man?
I mean, I'm right there with Taylor. It's average, I guess, it seems like a harsh word for it because I think it's not really average, but it's
Right,
it's
I
right there.
agree.
It's fine. The nose for me, like I told Taylor earlier, is a bit boozy, and I get a subtle hint of SoCo from it, smelling it, which is just my kryptonite. So I mean, so that doesn't help. But the taste of it is good. I mean, it's smooth, it's nice, there's not too much burn, and the description said a hint of citrus. I think was supposed to be something you may be able to pull. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I get a little bit like, oh, okay, I can get that. So yeah, same here. It's good.
On my end, I think both of you guys crushed it. You nailed it. So here's the thing about this. This whole episode is going to be nostalgia for me. This was one of the first bourbons I got to try in 1996 when I was working at the brew pub in Long Valley.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, it had just come out. We had just gotten it in, and the bartender at the time was like, "You guys got to try this. We're going to be featuring it this week." And I tried it, and it's a tale of two different times. When I tried it in '96, it was one of the best things I had because at that time there weren't a lot of bourbons floating around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But now, with there being so many to choose from, it's taken on, like, I tried it and I was like, oh wow, I don't remember it being this way. It was a very weird thing for me because, again, when I tried the first time, I was like, this is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so trying this one, it was like, okay, it's good. There's some things in there, but it's very basic.
Right. That's a good word for it.
Yeah, that is a good word for it.
Yep.
It is.
It
Kind of
has,
one note.
Yeah, it has all the things you would want or expect from a bourbon. So it's very well done in that respect.
Yes.
But it's not knock your socks off like I need to have this every single day.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you guys killed it. You guys crushed it. Like, average, middle of the road. It has It has the barrel in it. It has some vanilla. It definitely has a boozy nose to it. There's a slight tinge of alcohol for me initially. It does get a lot better as you go.
I agree with
rounds out. It definitely rounds out.
Yeah, no, it does. Initially, it's rough to start, I would say. Yep. But again, after you have a few,
This could be something that deserves maybe one ice cube just to open it up a little bit, maybe just to like calm it down a little bit. The problem is that it's not a full-bodied bourbon. It's kind of thin as it is, so the ice cube may thin it out even more. Right?
Yeah.
So maybe the burn and like the rye that they put in here just give it enough character to make you understand you're drinking something as opposed to brown water. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's fair.
I totally agree with you, Mike. And see, now the review I read online, which probably isn't helpful going into it, but it was the opposite of saying that it was thin, where it said it was full and chewy. I definitely didn't get a full, chewy bourbon from this. You're right, Mike. This is thin, and I think you're right. If you did add an ice cube, it could really just take away anything that you're going to get from it.
Yeah. Everything that it would help, it would also hinder in the
exactly.
end. So, yeah.
That's a good call.
Yeah.
You'd put the ice cube in and just start knocking them back. Just be like, pop.
Oh,
pop,
yeah.
pop. Right?
Definitely. Like I remember when I first tried this, at that point I just started out in the industry, so I was like super pumped and excited, and I was getting like taught stuff, and I was like, this is amazing, I love this, and he was so pumped about this new bourbon that had just come out. So you have all that into one glass.
Sure.
So you're just like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, you're gonna like it.
Yeah.
I do that all the time, by the way.
Right? Not for nothing, but since we've been talking about it every week, I still think the bottle. Sorry, PJ. I think the bottle is.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Honestly, I'm so glad you brought it up because honestly, when I bought it, I picked it up, and then last night I looked at the bottle and I was like, oh crap, did I get like a specialty version of it? Because like, you know, there's a signature on it. I'm like, oh, that's a real signature. It's not.
No.
But someone was like, and it's like, you know, this number out of this number, and I was like, oh, this great. Like this is obviously going to be amazing.
Yeah. So think
but no,
about
the bottle's great. The label is simple, but like expresses exactly what it needs to. It's really good.
So think about this, and they haven't changed much, if any at all, in '96.
No,
just coming out, sitting next to Jim Beam or Jack Daniels.
No, exactly.
I guess initially it made it seem like all three of us were in agreement that it was a below average to average whiskey, where I don't think that that's what we're thinking with it. I think we're thinking it's a good whiskey.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
It obviously is, right? Like you just said, like sitting next to Jack Daniels and Jim Beam. Obviously, I'm going to drink this.
That's true. No, yeah.
But now, again, the market's so saturated with good products, and we've been for $30 to $35. I think we've really been hitting the nail on the head here with our choices. So Woodford does, unfortunately, with the ones we've chosen, almost sort of fade into the background. Unfortunately, because it is good, but. Again, we've just been, and then it's coming off of what I think we can all agree has kind of been our favorite with the Noble Oak. So it's coming off that.
It doesn't help.
You know, that doesn't do it. If we were doing this after Larceny, I'd probably be giving this a 4-star review. You know?
Absolutely.
So
greatest ever.
I think initially I was a little rough on it, but I stand by what I said. Although I just would like to clarify that I do enjoy this bourbon for sure.
Yeah. I have this in the house randomly. Like I do drink this again because of, you know, knowing it like I do. I do still have a connection to it, so I like it. But for me, this is like it might be off the rails a little bit, but this for me is like the Sierra Nevada of bourbons for me. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale was like the first craft beer that every bar had. It was always Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, Coors Light, Bud Light, in every bar that I went into. And when I first tried Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, I was like, oh my God, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Now I have Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, and it's very good, but there are so many Pale Ales, you know, that you can choose from now. So it's kind of the same thing for me. Like I'll still drink this and have this in the house, but it's not knocking my socks off. But
so now wait, real quick. Oh, sorry, you were going to say,
I thought
you were done. So does this? Can this one be seen as like a starting point for?
Yes.
So on and so forth, just like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is like a starting point for all that fun stuff.
That was my butt.
Damn it! I cut you off.
No,
Sorry.
no, you're right. That's exactly right. I mean,
That's a great comparison.
if you want to know what a bourbon should be at its most basic, this is the one you want to pick up.
Yeah. And same can definitely be said for Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, for sure.
Right. Yes. This is what it should be, and then you build off of that. And you can add stuff to make it better, but that's where you should start. This is what you should be focused on.
That's a good comparison.
Right?
Because every time, you're exactly right, every time I drink a Sierra Nevada Pale Ale, it's good. I mean, I'm not going to be like, no, I don't want this. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's so many others out there that it's just like, all right, like this was once upon a time, the height of pale ales. Now, not so much. So I think it's a spot on comparison. That's a great comparison.
You can't tell me that there are brewers now and, a few years back that didn't take a Sierra Nevada recipe and build off of it.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, definitely.
They got the hop count and they were like, you know what, let's just do a little bit here, a little bit there, and then we'll blow it up. But yeah, you need that first one. So that's why I give credit to these guys. I mean, they've been doing it for how many years now? They're still there on the shelf.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And if you look it up, I'm pretty sure that price point really hasn't changed since they came out. If it's like $3 or $4, I'd be shocked.
Which is
that'd be cool.
Awesome, because you figure as soon as you start selling the volume that Woodford Reserve sells, right? Like they could easily get $39.99 for this bottle, and people would buy it.
Yep.
Smart on their part.
Yeah.
I mean, keep the entry level where it should be.
Yep. Exactly.
And this is exactly what this is an entry level bourbon.
Correct.
That's very good. I like where this all went.
Right. Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, definitely. All right, PJ. I'm going to throw it to you first for the review. What do you got for Woodford?
All right. Official review of Woodford Reserve is even though we've just been talking it up, I'm still going to say it's a 2.
Okay.
It is a solid 2. It's not a soft. It's not a hard. It's tweener. It's a 2. It's what I would say a 2 is, like what I've been saying. So I guess it's the basic one. You go from there. So after talking about it, I want to maybe push it, but I can't. It's 2.
You can't, not because of last week. You said Noble Oak was going to be your standard bearer, and that's a tough one to live up to. So that's a good one, definitely. Taylor, what do you got, man?
So I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to do a soft to firm 3. I like a firm 3-star. I think this is right where it needs to be. It's right in the middle. Like PJ said, a tweener. I guess I'm a little higher on that. For me, I can drink it straight. If I was doing a mixed drink at a bar and someone said, what whiskey do you want in it, I would put Woodford Reserve in it. It's good. It really is good. And I think it's right up there. I think it's right up there with the Buffalo Trace. I think it's right up there with the Eagle Rare. May not get as much attention nowadays. I think those two are sort of starting to blow up, and they're becoming like that new sort of hip thing. But I think that this may be getting forgotten. I think it's a solid 3-star from me. What'd I do?
I love it.
Just when you said it was hip, I just found that funny. I'm sorry.
I love that. How old are you that you're like, fuck hipsters?
Well, I don't think it's my age at this point. I think it's just where I'm working. I hate them. Every time they come in looking for something.
It's the mileage.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like, you guys got Buffalo Trace? It's like, how original, guy. It's like, you're the first one to ask. My goodness, we have a whole shelf full of it. So, yeah, that's why I give Woodford a solid 3, because I think everyone comes in there like, oh, Buffalo Trace is awesome. Oh, Eagle Rare is awesome. I've had them both. I've had, tasting this today. It's right up there with those. So I don't see what all the fuss is about with all the others. So for me, solid 3-star. Done and done.
I'll agree I like that. I like this good review. I'm going to go ahead. I'll give it a solid 3. I'm going to give it a solid 3 stars. I think it's middle. I was going to go a hard 3 because I'm like kind of at that halfway mark. But yeah, I mean, again, nostalgia being what it's being, I'm going to give it a hard 3 a middle 3, regular 3, and I just like it. I think entry level bourbon for what it is, I think it's good. I think what we just talked about previously about the price point kind of staying where it is, I do think at this point, if it came down a little bit, it wouldn't be the worst idea, because I think that bourbons have surpassed where this one is. But for an entry level, maybe give me it at 25, 24, somewhere around there.
By the way, for me, if it did.
Right?
If it went down to that price point, it'd be a 3.
Right,
Easily.
exactly. So that's where that should live, I think, right now. I think 25, 24, right around there would be awesome. But yeah, a 3. I love it. I'll definitely have it in the house. I drink it. I like it.
So as a group,
yeah.
As a group, PJ, are you comfortable with at least?
Very comfortable with 3. That's
okay.
Whatever 3 you guys want to give it, I'm fine with.
It would have to be a very soft 3.
I'm okay with a solid
I think it's a soft 3. I think consensus is it's a soft 3. And
I think I'm on board with that.
I'm okay with
that's
that.
Fine.
I'm fine with that.
Because I think that we both have the same reservations. I think it's not going to knock your socks off, but it should be, PJ, like you said, if it's at that price point, you're giving it a solid 3. Taylor, all the stuff, I mean, what you said is absolutely correct. So I think a soft 3 is a very good rating all across the board.
That's fair.
Seems like we're all in agreement.
Yeah.
Sure.
In terms
soft
of our descriptions of it. Yeah, so soft 3 works for me, for sure.
Awesome. Initial thoughts. I'm gonna go ahead and just go first and just say I love it. I love the movie. I mean, I've read articles that have said this is probably a perfect movie, and it's hard for me to disagree. PJ, I was thinking about you when you had brought up your review of, I think it was Extraction. If I'm mistaken, let me know. But you said something along the lines of cadence of the movie.
That sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think no. Shawshank Redemption.
The cadence. No.
With Shawshank Redemption, and you said the cadence of the movie, like how it flowed. I think you said that.
Sure.
I think no.
I use cadence somewhere else. We're getting off track. We're getting off track. I use cadence somewhere. It doesn't matter.
The way the movie flowed is just amazing to me. I had watched it a bunch of times because I can watch this movie anytime, anywhere, whatever. And I tried to take as many notes as I could, and I have none. Like, it was just, I would just take a couple, and then I just sucked in.
Yeah.
And I would just watch.
That's fair.
That's the same way. The same way.
I love it so much. It's just, that's all I can say. It's just amazing.
Taylor, go.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. Like, it's awesome. I gotta thank both of you for one, getting me into movies, because obviously I'm still not a huge movie guy. I mean, you guys definitely have me beat on every level.
You picked up modern stuff over me, though, by the way. You and Mike now have modern. I'm lacking there.
I've definitely come a long way from where I was at, say, 4 or 5 years ago, movie-wise. But this one is definitely a trilogy that I have to thank you guys for, because, oh my goodness, like Mike said, I was so pumped to watch it that Tuesday night I was like, all right, I'm going to watch it. And then as I was watching it, I was sitting there, wrote down a few notes, and I was just like smiling watching it. I was just like, oh man, I could watch this movie again after I'm done with it. It's so good. Like Michael said, the flow of it, there's always something going on. It's so good. The cast is so good. Yeah, I mean, initial thoughts, there's nothing wrong with this movie. It really is. There really isn't. It's awesome.
All right, Peach.
So I am surprisingly not going to disagree. It's a movie that if no one saw a movie, this would be in my movies to recommend that they watch first. Is basically.
That's awesome.
It's just this movie it's just so good. It's just, I mean, it has everything. It has a great cast. It has a great story. It has sci-fi. It has action. It has humor. It has a love story. It covers everything in under 2 hours. It's insane.
It's a great point, by the way.
Right?
That's awesome. That's a good call.
I mean,
what you just rattled off was good.
Yeah, it checks all boxes. Like anything you'd think a movie should have, it has a good friendship as well. Which I mean, like some movies just build a whole movie around it. Has it there, you get it. It's just spot on. It's why you go to see a movie. That's my initial thought.
So, PJ, you said last week about the standards bearer with the Noble Oak Bourbon. For me, this is the standards bearer for movies, like especially summer movies. Like when they release all the big summer movies, this is where I like kind of go in my head and be like, all right, we'll see, because it's just it's unbelievable. I mean, started off, just the notes that I have are mostly like trying to. I was looking at stuff that I don't think 90% of the world would ever try to find out, because I've seen it so many times, and I was just, I was trying to look for like little things that I could find. Did you guys notice that in the beginning when they're going into the room, when Marty first shows up at Doc's house, the clock? Do you
Which
see
clock?
the clock? Do you see the clock?
clock?
The clock that has Doc hanging from the clock tower?
Oh, see, I got clock stuff. I got that.
I know what clock you're talking about, but I didn't piece that together. So now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah.
My only thought when I saw
but it's
the
not
clock,
the right
that's a
time,
cool
though.
Clock.
It's a different time.
No. What do you mean?
So he's hanging from the clock, but all the clocks are synced to
I didn't notice that.
8 a.m. So
Right.
he's hanging in the same position when we get to that point. He's hanging in the same position, but it's a different time because it's 10:04.
The minute hand. He's hanging on the minute hand. So the minute hand is in the right spot, but the hour hand is not.
Exactly. And then in where he's hanging, since they're all synced, he's hanging at 8 o'clock. So he's hanging on the hour hand at 8. And it's going to 8 o'clock. Yeah, no, it's all hour. Because at the end, he's hanging on at 10 o'clock. 10:04 p.m. is when it strikes. So that's where he's hanging in the movie. But then all the clocks are synced to 8 o'clock. Because when they go off, Marty's like, oh, you tell me it's 8:25.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's the same idea, but it's a different time. But it's awesome. But it's awesome.
It is a cool clock.
Sorry, I just totally.
No, it's cool. But I
that
mean,
down.
like, so what is about to happen already happened.
Right.
Because they had to have an idea of that clock, right? You had to figure out how to make that clock or get that clock made.
Oh, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that.
Right?
See, I have a few notes, definitely not with the clock. I have a few notes with the whole time travel thing, because I don't know about you guys. I'm sure it is. Time travel for me, even watching Back to the Future, which is a simple form of time travel, it's still confusing. Like I still like even with like Einstein in the beginning with like the minute, like it still always takes me a second to be like, if he went into the future, shouldn't his clock be a minute ahead? And then he explains I'm sitting there and like I really have to like sit there and think like, no, it would be a minute behind. And I'm like, right? And then I'm like, I'm still not really.
Yeah, I still don't know what's going on either. I totally agree.
So
I don't know how normal regular now hours go.
Right?
I'm like, it's an hour? Like, I don't know what's going on.
So it makes sense to me, but there's so many times where I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, I'm not sure if I really understand.
Also, plutonium under the table seems lazy. You just
it was lazy. It was lazy.
Leave it under there?
I was thinking the exact same thing this morning because it's easy to miss. Well, I guess it's not easy to miss, but it's kind of easy to pass over. Like the news is on, you hear the missing plutonium, you're like, oh, like you already know where it is, and then like the skateboard hits it. You're like that's not a good hiding spot at all.
Yeah, no, that's.
I mean, one raid and they got
that. The table covering doesn't even come down to the legs. Like you can see it.
Yeah,
it's like lean over.
Totally agree.
You're done.
It was really bad. It was bad.
And then
do we assume he had 2 cases of plutonium, or did he go back and pick that one up and bring it to the?
Great question. I assume
those wacky wabbits.
Yeah, yeah, totally called for it. Sorry. I assume he went back and got it. By the way,
I think so too. Oh man,
that has to be the case.
PJ, go ahead.
I'm sorry. That was really good, by the way. I totally butchered that. Tony on the table seems lazy. Handle with care warning. Is that enough of a written warning?
It's not
Like,
glass.
more?
It's not glass.
How the story was presented and all the things that it seems like every scene that you're watching serves a purpose. Like everything leads to
totally
the next thing.
Yes.
There's no we've talked about for the past few episodes, there's always one scene that's kind of a building scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure this one has it, but it's not blatant. It's not
you can't
obvious.
Can't tell.
Like there has to be a scene where they're putting shit together, but I never know it. Like I'm just like I'm all in. I'm like, oh, this is all, and then I get the next. Oh, it's the end. Awesome, great.
Yeah.
I don't see it, and that's why
it
I
always
think,
gets to the dance really quickly.
No.
Like it
Really
almost
quickly.
seems that way. Like all of a sudden it's the dance, but you also like there's nothing missing.
right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so
you
true.
know what's happening. You know exactly what's going on.
Like you're an hour and 25 minutes in, and you're at the dance, and you're on board. Like you know how the next 25 minutes are going to wrap this whole thing up. You got it.
And at the end of the day, somebody smarter than us may come on and just say, look, it's a super simple story, and that's why it's so easy to do what they did. But for me, to hell with that guy. It's exactly what I need to see in every movie that I watch. You gave me what I needed in 2 hours. It was fantastic.
Right.
Loved it.
I said, by the way, to Taylor's point, the setup to the night of the dance is quick, but it's not nothing. Like it's not like you don't look past it. Like every scene is perfect to get up to the night of the dance, but it's very quick. It's he meets Doc. He goes to the school for the first time. He tries to, persuade his dad to get there. Stuff happens, and all of a sudden it's the night of the dance. It's instant. Mm-hmm. It's a handful of scenes done perfectly well to set up exactly what needs to be set up for that final scene, the school scene with the dance and everything, and then
go.
And I mean, it's spot, like everything is spot on. It doesn't miss a beat.
I agree. Think about how much, like you just said, PJ and Taylor, how much we've learned before we get there. From beginning to end, we know that Marty has a friend whose name is Doc. We know that Doc isn't there all the time, obviously because of the dog food that should not be dog food. And then, and then we know that Marty sometimes watches the house, or they're best friends, or he's in there, so whatever. So he has this friend. Then he goes to school, and he's kind of like fallen off a little bit, and we meet Strickland, who has been a bane in the McFly existence for how long? We meet his girlfriend, who now we found out about. We get through all that. We know that he wants to be a musician.
Yep.
And this is 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's quick,
right?
It's like a solid 20. Yeah, it's like right there.
Crazy. And then all of a sudden now he's finally built something that he's very proud of. It's a time machine. He used to think about this back in the 50s. At the time, we know where he is. We know what's happening. When we go there, when we get there, we're not surprised by it because we understand why we're there. Like it's an amazing. The whole thing is just amazing. Yep. It's perfectly written and done. It was so good.
Of all the things that this movie does right, I mean, it's so good. I mean, like it really is. It has a little bit of everything. It has the friendship, has the love story, has sci-fi, has humor. It's just like a little bit of everything you want from a movie, and you box that all into under 2 hours into a classic sci-fi comedy action movie. Yep. It's awesome. I mean, what's wrong with this movie? Tell me what's wrong with it, and I'll tell you why you're wrong.
It's hard, and I'll tell you what. If you do research on the movie itself and how it became the movie that it is, there could have been a lot of missteps. Like Spielberg, I don't know if it's Spielberg. I apologize if that's not right, but the ending was supposed to be he drives through a nuclear plant, and that's how he gets the energy to go back in time. It could have been that it wasn't called Back to the Future because at the time they were talking about it, when you put future in the title of a film, it didn't sell as well. So they were trying to do like from space, something from space. Like there were so many missteps that they could have made that they didn't. And that all fell, like it just had to, at this point for them, it has to feel like everything just fell into place. Like that's that one thing that you just crushed, that it just all worked out and made sense. You have to. They have to look back on it and just be like, holy shit. Like I cannot believe because those guys sat on the script for a long time.
Yeah.
They had that written. And all of a sudden it just becomes this iconic thing that people are talking about 35 years later.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so insane.
It's pretty nuts.
Just the regular ending, I still get stressed out every time I watch it, right?
Time. Yep.
Like, there's
agreed.
not a time you watch it and you obviously know it's going to work out, but each time it's just like,
Right.
it's the worst. It's not the worst, but it's just like the amount of stress I have for those 10 minutes. It's just like, Jesus, can we be back in 1985? My God. I just want it to be done every time I watch it. And obviously it always works out, but it's just.
Yeah. I know
gets you going.
exactly. I know exactly when the tree's going to fall and disconnect those wires.
Yep.
And I'm still like, the tree's going to fall. Can you guys just look up? Like,
Right.
move the wire. Do something. So crazy. Hey, PJ, you have any notes?
Oh, I got notes. Early scenes. BK Whopper. I just like that it was there. Guy drinking against a light post clock is fun. And then there's a Denver Broncos alarm clock. Did you guys notice that? It's right before.
I did notice that.
Okay, you did. Okay, so that's my clock stuff. That's it. That's all I got. Clock stuff.
All right.
Seriously, honestly, to add to that, when he leaves, like when he kicks the gate open and then go and starts skating, and then gets the guy out of the Burger King parking lot, and then goes from there. That scene is so fun. He is a super cool individual. Also, dog food has come a long way.
Yes.
Because that dog food looked like pure shit.
PJ,
What?
Back to the Future review. Give me it.
Oh, there it is.
Easy. 5. Main cast, supporting cast, no one misses. I mean, even Biff's cronies in 1950, like, just spot on.
Billy Zane.
What's that?
Billy Zane.
I know. Just like the first time you see him, and then you're like, oh wait, he became a big star, and then kind of
10 years later, he's on Titanic, telling people to die.
Right? And everyone's like, oh, who's Billy Zane? And be like, I know Billy Zane. Cast, ending. I mean, it's the movie you talk about after you watch a movie and talk about it. Like, it's just the movie everyone has a different point of view or sees something. It's just perfect. It's a 5. I mean, it's a 5. Come on. It's stop.
Taylor, what we got?
Yeah. I wish I had something different to say. I tried to make it not a 5. Again, I did the same thing with Shawshank. I just knew going in I was gonna give it a 5. And I'm going to give it a 5. I tried to play with the whole time travel thing. Again, if he couldn't travel back in time, he would have never been born to travel back in time, right?
Right.
Small hole, but that's the whole time. I mean, look, that's all I got. That's all I got to poke a hole in the movie. And that's just me trying way too hard. It's perfect. Again, I go back to everything PJ said in the beginning. I give you, Mike, everything you said at the end of your review. It's too good. It's a 5-star from me. Easy 5-star.
I agree. 5-star every way. No doubt about it. It's just amazing from start to finish. It is the perfect movie. The way it was written, the way it was acted, the way it was edited, the way it was produced, the orchestra, the music. There's not a bad point in this entire movie. Like, every part just makes sense. The whole flow of it. Every scene has a reason, and that is huge. And Taylor and PJ, what you guys brought up, you get to the whole climax, which is the Enchantment of the Sea dance. We get there so fast, and you don't realize what you've seen before that gets there. And I love it. It's just absolutely amazing. It's a 5-star every day, all day. If it could be 6, 10, 20, I would give it 20 stars.
So
It's
going away
good.
from Mike's nostalgia, we can all agree an easy 5.
Every day.
This is what you look for in a movie. This is the bar.
Yeah.
That's obviously going to do it for us this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please join us next episode when we take on the Karate Kid while drinking some Suntory Toki whiskey. Until then, cheers.